we have removed this urgency to operate in a more healthy demeanor has it's just overwhelmingly taken over the population dramatically, so much so to the point that you see examples of it more bold and more evident every single day between our kindergarten children all the way to the top of the mountain, where we have people in positions of power who are not the greatest examples of what it takes to be held responsible for the people with their decision makings, for the laws that they sign off on, for the advertisements that they broadcast daily on television after your favorite shows, all the way down to the school's board in the classrooms with the teachers who are one of the main sources of the learning experience. You send your children off for 8 hours a day, depending on their activities outside of the regular class curriculum. The teachers have the responsibility of making sure that outside of the household, they are giving them key pieces, tools, history, everything that you see in these books, even things that they don't teach in the books, they're set there to make sure that when they get out of school and they graduate and it's time for them to get out into the work field and into the world, they are prepared intellectually to be able to handle certain situations dealing in whatever field that they decide to go in. Everything that you said encompasses that. It goes back into the household as well, because we see it every day where mothers and fathers will actively promote and use their children as shields to negate any type of accountability for the things that they outsource to the world. And people have to understand there's thousands, millions of people every day consuming the internet, consuming these text messages, these pictures, these videos, your advice, your laws. They're looking at your examples. They're looking at how you walk and how you talk and how you deal with people every single day. And because the lack of people saying, hey, this isn't right, or this could be done a better way, in a more loving way, or we're not really saying to these folks or correcting people where they should be corrected. I think correction is a huge piece that's missing, especially if we're talking about what leadership is. You have to have correction.
Mhm.
And when you take that part out of it, what you have is just every indecent thing that you can possibly imagine being plastered everywhere. That's why nothing really surprises me when I see children being disrespectful to their elders. Nothing surprises me when people like us have these conversations and they get shadow banned and they get kicked off of all social media platforms because we're talking against things that will probably hurt them from monetizing or gaining off of the debilitating aspect of their assignment. The real true assignment is to make sure that we don't educate each other so that we continue to walk in ignorance, walk in fear, walk in doubt. We don't believe in ourselves. We don't believe in our talents. We don't trust people. We don't even trust ourselves. Why? Because of the programming, because maybe our parents didn't have the best examples. Maybe they didn't really show us the greatest way. Maybe they didn't stay on us tough enough. Maybe our friends weren't really friends and they led us down the wrong path. Maybe someone spoke a word over our life that negatively affected us and we slipped into a hole that we couldn't climb out of. Everything kind of coincides when you actually think about it. So I love the fact that you say responsibility. We have to hold a person to a certain standard. For example, you speaking right now, someone's going to listen and someone's going to absorb what you're saying. It's going to be a seed planted in somebody, and they're going to take that with them, and then it's going to slowly grow in their heart and in their mind because people tend to want to be better. They want to be happier. They want to be more prosperous. And a lot of times it's hard to achieve that goal when you have that blockage. But then once you start to water your seeds and you plant the right things in fresh soil to where it can actually be nourished and it can take root to something, then what you have is someone that's coming out of their doubt, their confusion. They begin to believe in themselves more. They begin to practice a healthier um, way of working, conversating, talking to themselves, speaking life over themselves, dealing with their loved ones, just even removing certain toxic traits and attitudes and things going on in their head that for the longest time they thought was the correct way. So
Hmm.
yeah, that's just my take on it, man.
You're very you definitely have the the spirit of what I'm talking about. It's great to see a like-minded person that I can interact with and share these uh, these thoughts with. It's really really great to see. I love the way that you've promoted your channel as well. Um, what I've noticed is that one thing you said is correction is absolutely necessary, and I agree with that. And with understanding that correction is necessary, it's also important to understand how that correction happens. So it's accepted with loving appreciation rather than met with defensiveness. Because you can give all the correction in the world, but if a person resists against it, it doesn't do any good. So it has to be something that someone wants to take in and wants to use, and they want to see that they can be better. And one thing that I've noticed is that the more we understand how we as people behave, and the more we're willing to look at how we can influence others through our ability to relate with one another, we are much more able to create the kind of dynamic that we want to see in others. We can offer the correction if necessary in a way that is appreciated, where a person who is being corrected doesn't feel like they're being shamed or they're being told that they're not good enough or they're being rejected. But what's happening is that they understand that what if you were to correct me about something, I realize because of the way that you've approached me, I realize that you actually have my best interest at heart. You want to see me succeed. And the reason why you correct what you correct is because you know that there's something that good that can be done, and you know that there's something that I'm offering that can be good. It just needs to be the perspective needs to be shifted a little bit. And if we can approach each other in that way, namely through understanding what we really need to know through the interactions, because when we exhibit behavior, we exhibit that behavior because we need something. There's something that we are either lacking or something that we are looking to acquire through our behavior. And because of that, I've come to terms with the fact that everyone manipulates. And manipulation is a form of survival. We manipulate in order to be recognized, to be seen, and to have our needs fulfilled. And there are many ways to do that. You manipulate through your word, through your poetry, through the things that you say, through the interactions you have with other creatives. Other creatives also manipulate through those avenues. We manipulate through the interactions we have with other people. And not all manipulation is bad. Manipulation just is. The definition of manipulation is taking something and transforming it into something else. That's it. And by understanding that through our interactions with other people, we shift their perspective into something that is more aligned with our own perspective. That necessarily isn't bad, because we need to do that in order for other people to appreciate us and to gain the appreciation of other people, to create understanding and create consensus. Manipulation is absolutely necessary. How you manipulate and why you manipulate. Now, those are the things that really need to be talked about. Because if you are manipulating for your own self-serving needs, that's when it becomes negative. That's when it becomes the things that manipulation is really known for. The negative connotations. Oh, he's manipulating me, so he must be wanting something, or she's manipulating me because she wants to get her way, or whatever it might be. When you manipulate for the purpose of bettering that person, not necessarily for your own benefit, but for their benefit, it becomes ethical. It becomes something that you do that others can buy into. Whenever we read a book, listen to music, read poetry, look online, consume the media, whatever it might be, we're consenting to the idea that we are going to be manipulated in some way. And by manipulating through consent, which is what ethical manipulation is, by them understanding what the outcome is going to be through that manipulation and consenting to it, it becomes something that is worthwhile. We're able to shift their perspective because and do so that is in a way that's very effective because it's been consented to. The people that we're interacting with, they know that the manipulation is going to happen and they're okay with it because they know what the purpose is, or they have an idea of what's going to happen, or they want to shift their perspective in some way. And the more we understand how people behave, the more we understand how we can manipulate them ethically and how we can create conversations that shift perspectives in a positive way so that everyone walks away from that interaction feeling like they've gained something rather than something's been taken away.
I like there's two things that you said that I want to magnify. Identifying the true definition of correction and manipulation. Those are the two things that piqued my radar. Because I think a lot of times people confuse and conflate the two with opposing definitions and what they truly mean. If I love you, I care about you. That means that somewhere inside of me, I know that if you walk down that alley, something's bad is about to happen. If we have a conversation and I sense that you are lying or you're withholding information, and I decide to call you out on it, that is a form of love. That is a form of the person actually caring about
Mhm.
the destructive path you are about to choose. And before you choose that path to go down, I have thrown my entire self in the direction of destruction to keep you from going that way. But you confuse what I'm doing with control, with self serving manipulation, because it comes off as if I'm trying to be an authoritative figure or I'm trying to keep you from joys and pleasures or I'm trying to stop you from reaching a certain plateau in your life. The way that the world has conditioned our thinking, you'll look at me like I'm the enemy. The entire time I'm trying to save you from something. So if I say to you, hey, I don't think you want to have a conversation with that person until you calm down, you get your thinking together, you kind of breathe, take a walk, maybe process what just happened before you allow your emotions to take over completely. If I take the time out, first of all, a person who takes time out to really unfold and unpack everything that they just witnessed and they listened to, that's an entirely different level of responsibility and charity. We are so desensitized to what is real and what is not, to the point to where everything is a defense mechanism. You can tell me that I can improve on A, B, and C, and I'm going to take it like, okay, I see what he's talking about. Okay, I can listen to a comment or two. I can read them. I'm too soft spoken. Maybe I'm not more aggressive. Maybe okay. I'll take that into consideration moving forward. Because the fact of the matter is, we are trying to be better than the person we were the day before. At least I
Mhm.
am. I want the same thing for my tribe and anyone who has an ear and eye to see. Now, in terms of manipulation,